Hi, Jennifer here with Sunday Dinner Realty Group. As you may know, Sunday Dinner is all about giving back. It's our value proposition. It's the reason we exist. So, what that means is 10% of every single real estate deal is given back to local charities and nonprofits in our own community. With our InFocus series, what we're doing is taking a look at nonprofit organizations, community charities, individuals that are making a difference in our local community. We're using social media as a platform to highlight those individuals and organizations and charity groups, their superhero powers and how they're impacting our community and helping build each other up. So stay tuned for more videos that we put out about your local community and how it's making a difference in your lives. Thanks, and let's get those party started. Hi, Jennifer here with Sunday Dinner Realty doing our InFocus series. Today we're talking about 311 youth housing with Lauren VanKeulen. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Nice to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me here today.
This is a nice place.
It is.
I love it myself.
I said I'm gonna have to come back for a beer later today.
Right? I think I just hit
When
my
they
plane.
open.
Super cool. So 311 youth housing, so which houses youth between 18 and 24. Pretty cool space to be in. Tell me a little bit about you though. How did you come about where you are today?
Yeah. Well, I grew up in the Chicago area and came to Grand Rapids for college. I went to Calvin. And then I was a teacher for 3 years, and during that time, I also ran the youth group with my husband, well, fiance at the time, at City Life Church.
Yeah.
And over the course of a year, half our youth experienced some sort of homelessness that were in the youth group. And we began to see just this incredible need in our community. And at the time, there were 2 apartments that were specifically serving young people ages 18 to 24. And so we said, wow, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder what the actual need is, right? If we have this many young people that we're interacting with.
Just in one space that you're in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's the full need in our community? And so we kind of did some research, talked to some people, and found out that average, well, on the low end, there's 80 young people a night that experience homelessness in Kent County, and 2,000 young people between the ages of 14 and 24 that experience homelessness every year.
Yeah, 80 people, young people a night. That's a lot.
Yeah, and we know that that's wholly an undercount. We know young people are experts. No young person wants to be defined as homeless, right?
No.
So
you're gonna hide that. You're gonna
if I'm 19 years old,
oh no, I'm just staying at my friend's house.
Exactly.
I'm not. I might go over there tomorrow because that's how I roll.
Exactly. Because it's just there's such a stigma to it, and so many people think homeless. They think of a 65-year-old man that's been on the streets for years, and
and lots of people immediately say negative things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So our young people never want to be associated with that, and then also, just are great at hiding it, great at figuring out ways to show that they're
mask their struggle and their pain that they're in.
Yeah. Exactly. So. Through that, my husband, who's the co-founder and co-executive director of 311, he's been in commercial and residential construction for 15 years. And then I went on to get my master's in social work. And so together, we were able to kind of pull this thing off in a sense, in partnership with a lot of other agencies, and in partnership with young people themselves, who really informed our model.
So you guys are kind of with our forces combined.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way I could ever pull off a full rehab on my own. It's not even anywhere near my skill set. So.
Yeah. But then you guys bring in all kinds of resources, right, to help with, the specific needs of the children are. Yeah. Not children. They're not children.
They're not.
They're 18 to 24. They're young adults.
Young adults, young people.
Yeah. So everybody has their different things, but
Yeah.
it's kind of just, and then a lot of us, a lot of people out there don't have like a steady family base or community
Yeah.
base that's teaching them and building them up.
Yeah.
So in that way, 311 fills the gap that they're missing.
Yeah.
And then so teaches them so they're moving towards their future.
Exactly. We talk a lot about the word interdependence. And so recognizing that every young person brings inherent dignity, worth, and value to every single house, and that mentors bring dignity, worth, and value, and that mentors have something to learn from our young people, and young people have something to learn from mentors and from each other, and something to teach each other as well. And so this idea that none of us are really self-sufficient. For a long time it was like, how can we get you self-sufficient? And I think about it and I'm like, am I self-sufficient? Really? Right? Like, not really. No, I have a whole community of people and family that support me when I'm going through a hard time.
Right.
And so we say, well, all right, so our young people, that's what they want, and that's what they're trying to invest in as well, is this idea that if I'm going through something, I have multiple people that I can call and talk to and find support from to kind of figure out what to do next.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need a little bit of guidance or a little somebody to bounce something off.
Yeah.
To like, okay, am I thinking about this right, or am I going in the right direction? How can I do this better? All that type of stuff. Yeah.
And national research shows that a stable and caring adult in a young person's life greatly increases their outcomes. And so as we have young people investing in each other and investing in mentors and vice versa, that creates long-term success and sustainability for them.
Yeah.
Rather than a short-term quick fix, like here you go, 3 months, figure it out, you're out.
Right, yeah. So, so speaking of the mentors specifically, you have mentors in each facility where you're housing. So tell me a little bit about your spaces.
Yeah. So we have 7 properties throughout Grand Rapids that we either own or operate or help operate. And in each of the properties we have a house mentor, and it's either an individual, a couple, even a family that says this is something that I'm really passionate about and has experience working with young people as well. And says I'm going to dedicate 2-3 years of my life to doing this. Most of our mentors have other jobs as well, so but yeah, so out of the 7 houses throughout the city, one's currently under renovation. The rest are operating or almost operating, and we have space for 19 young people right now at a time.
Awesome.
When we started, we had space for 4 to house 4 youth at a time, and that was still the largest youth-specific housing in our county.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So one of the things that I think is really exciting is that from the national level to the state level to the local level, communities are beginning to see the impacts of youth homelessness and the need to address it. And so I think Kent County and Grand Rapids in particular is specifically doing some really good work around this. And there's a lot of agencies that are saying, this is a need and it's something that we want to work towards ending.
Right,
We know that 40% of adults who are currently homeless also experience homelessness as a young person. So we say, so we say, hey, if we could intervene now, that's a potential of 40% of our adult homeless population that may not experience long-term homelessness or repeated episodes of homelessness and will have a different trajectory for their lives.
Right. Just have something that feels like a home so they can get on their feet and moving towards growing in their future. So a lot of the teens in your spaces, they pay rent, and you teach them about rent and what that's like. Yeah.
So most of our young people have never never signed a lease before, never lived on their own. Maybe they aged out of foster care and have very few supports, or maybe they've been couch surfing for a year or 2 or sleeping on the streets. It's a wide variety of things that young people, when they enter, have experienced. But many, if not all, haven't ever signed a lease. And so but I think, Wayne, I was 19. Had I ever signed a lease before? No, I hadn't.
No,
right?
absolutely not.
Exactly.
And then you called your parents, hey, so does this sound right?
Right. Is this fair? Is this like, should I sign my name here?
Yeah.
You know, I remember my dad saying, you need to read every line before you sign something. I was like, oh, interesting. Didn't know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not just like when you download an app, you just click the button, like, okay.
All right, whatever.
There's a lot of words there.
Yeah.
It'll work out.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah. Just a little bit. So we really work on, we want all of our youth to sign a lease. Everything we do kind of comes from the lease, just as it would be in any other agreement or housing situation for their future. So we really say we want to walk with you in this process, and part of that is ownership and a safe space to call home.
Yeah.
And when they sign a lease and they pay rent, it is their home. This is their home. It's not another program. It's their house. They can keep their stuff there. We don't have time limits, so you can stay as long as they want or need to, and then they can actually come back any time that they want.
Yeah.
But yeah, they pay $250 a month in rent. 50 of it is saved for their first month's rent and security deposit when they move out. 50 of it pays for utilities, and the other 150 helps with our operations.
Right.
But our young people that have moved out have been able to pay their entire first month's rent and security deposit. And that's huge.
Yeah.
Because then if they've maintained a job for a long time, so they're able to build in their rent payment along the way.
Right.
And they've learned that skill and
Like
practice
budgeting
that.
and
Exactly.
understanding that, ins and outs of everyday living on your own.
Exactly. And they've been able to practice that in an environment that they're not kicked out at the drop of a hat. If they miss a rent payment, we're going to talk with them and work with them instead of hand them an eviction notice.
Right. Yeah.
And so we walk with them and try to walk alongside them as they're navigating so many new kind of adult skills.
Yeah.
Adulting, if you will.
Right.
I think that's the new hashtag.
Yeah,
I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. And I think a lot of us don't really, a lot of people you don't have that guidance. Even if you did have, parents at home, maybe, that you didn't have that guidance to teach you what you can and can't do, and deadlines and budgeting and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or had, a college experience or some sort of like more insulated experience where if you make a mistake, campus police might be notified, but GRPD isn't, or like, oh, your RA found out or your RD found out or your parents found out, but you weren't arrested and taken to jail because of that mistake.
Right.
And so like trying to help provide that support, knowing that 18 to 24 is kind of a crazy life stage for everybody.
It is, yeah.
So how can we walk with you through all of that?
Yeah, and sometimes in that whole time when you're going through, it's not always very clear where you can find resources.
Yep.
So having places to go that feels like home gives you time to relax.
Yep.
And think, okay, I need to find things, maybe I need to find a larger full-time job. Maybe I want to enroll in college.
Yep.
Maybe I want to, all these different things that you want to do. But if you don't have a home first, because then you can do all these other things.
Exactly.
Then you can find your way in the world.
Exactly.
And I like the fact that you're making it not feel like a help program.
Yeah.
But it's their home. They own that space.
Yep.
They're responsible for taking care of that space and themselves and making the right choices and that kind of stuff. So kind of just building them.
Yeah, and I think what we see all the time is, and I think about it to myself, I'm like, man, if all of a sudden, we're all one or two life events away from homelessness, so many of us, right? There's
Absolutely.
like one or two things could happen terribly, and like a lot of people in our middle class. And so I think about it, man, what if my home was stripped away? Like how easy would it be for me to get to work? Yes. Or to like keep my car, or to like
wash your clothes.
Exactly.
Take a shower.
Exactly.
Just regular everyday
things that feel so natural and normal to me or to us, but then you recognize, man, how can you get a job if you don't have an address to list on a job application?
Exactly.
Or a phone number where you can be contacted.
Right.
And so often housing provides the foundation to then say, oh yeah, I can get a phone. or I have somebody I know that I could list as a reference or on my application. I have an address to list here.
Yeah.
So we find that often the first year that a youth is in a 311 house is pretty up and down, because the belief that this isn't going anywhere takes a while to actually sink in.
Yeah. It's not going to be stripped away
again. Yeah, exactly.
Because they've already experienced so many things.
Yeah, so much trauma and so many different life events that it's been pure survival. To be able to say, okay, I can settle here, and now I can. It takes about a year, and maybe they go through 4 or 5 jobs, and then finally, okay, like maybe I can find something I'm passionate about, or maybe I can start to invest in a trade or some training to help me get a living wage.
Yeah.
All these things that kind of come after that foundation has been solidified a little more.
The hope is like stripped away, and then they're like, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's not hopeless.
Yeah.
There is something here for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
How do the young adults, so again, 18 to 24, how do they find 311?
Yeah. So we get calls on an almost daily basis, 3 to 4 calls a day, but we can't take direct referrals. We just don't have the capacity. I mean, so like I said before, right, we have 19 spaces for young people. By the end of 2018, hopefully 21 to 24 spaces, but which is huge, but it doesn't even touch the level of need that's in our community right now.
Yeah.
And so we don't take direct referrals. You stay for a while, so it's rare that we have turnover. So we don't even carry a wait list, because then young people are hanging on for a year or two waiting, and that feels unfair.
Yeah.
So we connect, when we have an opening, we connect with community partners, specifically with HQ and the Grand Rapids Center for Community Transformation at Bethany Christian Services. We connect with both those organizations and say, hey, we have an opening. Can you send us a referral? And then we go from there. They do a specific referral process to help us identify level of vulnerability and level of need, so that we're accurately placing young people in home, and that we're working with youth who are actually homeless and able to really support them as best as we can.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then anybody that calls, we refer to 211 and to Salvation Army HAP, and we try to at least send them to HQ and try to give them resources that are out there. But unfortunately, there's just a huge need for resources in our community. We just have, we have a huge need, especially because of the affordable housing crisis and a complete lack of resources. So waiting lists are super long and resources are scarce. But
in the last few years that you've been doing this, 311 youth housing, has there been a moment when you had some real, like, heartstrings pulling, passionate moment where you're like, yes, I'm doing the right thing and I know it?
Yeah. So many, I think.
It just keeps coming.
Yeah, it just keeps coming. I think of 2 specifically, and I think so many people who are in this work do it for a variety of reasons, but often because they've had something in their own lives that has been difficult or hard, and they've seen the impact that another person has had on them. And so I think that's true for me. That's true for a lot of community partners and people that we work with that are really passionate about this. And so these 2 specific times, one of them are we had one young person, and when my husband and I were the first mentors in the first house to kind of get this all off the ground and to see how can we do this really well and effectively. And one of our first few young people had been staying at a shelter, and he had said, he told us later, he said, I woke up one day and the person next to me had passed away. It's an older man, had passed away in his sleep.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I just had like goosebumps.
Yeah.
That would be not a great feeling.
Awful.
Yes.
And he was 19. He had aged out of foster care. Just had a lot of difficulties. And he said, that was the future I saw for myself. He said, I'm 18, I'm 19, and this is where I'm going to be when I'm 60, apparently. Because this is what all these other people's story are.
Right.
And we talked to him later, and he said, but something different happened when I moved into the 311 house. And I began to see not just mentors, not just me and John, but people his own age succeeding, meeting goals, going to school, purchasing cars, working full time. And he said it completely shifted his view of what his life could be. And he said because he saw his peers, he saw other young people achieving these things, he said maybe that can be my life too. And
that
now,
is awesome.
Yeah. He
that
now,
is amazing.
right?
I mean, got this stuff back again.
Right. And he's super special to us and has continued to be a part of informing what we do. And but he lives on his own. He pays his own rent. He actually pays his rent 2 weeks ahead of time.
Nice.
And he has maintained a job for 3 years. Is looking at a promotion right now. And so just to see that kind of
the success
trajectory change, and what providing safe and affordable housing along with relational support can do for a young person. And in a communal setting where they can see their peers achieving things too. So that's one, and the other just happened recently. I think I talked a little bit about the idea of interdependence earlier, but you know, I had just a really rough day, you know, just a standard rough day. And, I had a meeting with a youth scheduled, one of our young people that I've been working with a little bit. And we sat down and she just started talking to me and just started sharing her passion and her excitement for life and some of the work that she's doing and some of the she's really interested in the arts and some of just her passion for that, and just started talking about how having a home allowed her to work and pursue this passion. And in that conversation, she just completely shifted my mindset. Her life, her zest for life, her desire to pursue these things changed my entire day. And I said, wow, she just blessed me so much, and she had no idea. And just by being her and just by sitting down and having a conversation with me. And I think so often, especially in our community, it's like, I'm going to help this person, and I think shifting and saying, I have so much to gain from this relationship as well. Like, you have so much to offer. Every single one of our young people has so much to offer this world and this community. And so she had so much to offer me personally in that moment, and then I think about broadly, like, what she's gonna bring to our community over the course of time.
I think that's what everybody sometimes misses. Is helping people just get on their own feet. And be themselves. Helps everybody.
Helps all of us.
Right? It helps all of us. And we all grow together.
Exactly. Instead of this just, one size fits all kind of thing.
Right. Definitely. Okay, so is there anything that you want people to know about 311 that we didn't already cover?
I just think that I'm really excited about the work, the 311, but then also our community partners and the work that's happening in our community to address this need. I'm excited that I think community members are recognizing it as a need and seeing and getting really passionate about supporting it and seeing what the long-term effects are of working with young people at this age and the hope that comes from it. And so I'm just really grateful. I'm grateful to Sunday Dinner. I'm grateful to our entire community that's saying this matters. Young people matter, and we want to participate in their flourishing. And so, just that it's just been a really huge blessing to be able to engage throughout our entire community.
Well, it was really great to meet with you.
You
too. This was really fun. I'm really excited about this.
Thanks.
What you're doing out in the world. 311 Youth Housing. When the website is again
www.3-11.org.
Okay, go check it out. Tell people about it. Let everybody know. Thanks for being with us again today, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me.
Sure.